I'm going to start off for Rob. One of our guests wanted to know more about the MBTA's implementation of positive train control. Many railroads are having trouble getting it going. That's phrased as a question. I think it's probably more of a statement. Let's talk about the MBTA's difficulties in doing that, with which I'm all too familiar.
And it's certainly a huge challenge. I mean, I did not appreciate the level of challenge until I kind of got myself into it. The team was well into the system. This is you're overlaying this giant new software system onto this existing legacy railroad fleet, and I think that the level of sort of interaction between the old and the new and keeping everything safe. And so, there would be weekend cutovers where you would test things and then have to go back to the old system, and then the next weekend cut over into the new system. And I'm not really doing it justice. I just think that I'm just trying to think of a good example of something in your life where you're taking something that's years old and having to overlay in that new technology, but having to do it in a way that the system remains operational and 100% safe. I mean, we had a point a couple weeks ago where on one of the last legs, we ran into some problems and we had to shut the Worcester line down for the better part of 2 weeks. Because would it have run safely? Probably, right? I mean, would we have had a problem? Probably not. But that's not the metric we're using. It's not the test we're using. The test we're using is, do we know we can run a safe system? That was an extreme case, and I think another issue is simply you're talking about a lot of new hardware. I mean, we have, like I said, 90 locomotives, 420 coaches, so they've all got to be outfitted with new antennas, et cetera. And along the way, there were definitely production issues with some of the companies, and if software doesn't work, and trying to get it back up to trying to have it retested and brought back in. And I guess the last thing I'll say is, as people who've probably been in this industry, most projects, Alan and I were talking about this, deadlines are important, but they're not absolute deadlines. I mean, I have seen a lot of projects slide for months, if not longer, because that's just the way it is. Positive train control has a legislative mandate to be up and running this year. And it's really a very different approach. I mean, there have been often times where we have looked at workforce for a given weekend, flaggers we need, signal resources, and we could have two things we want to do, and we're pushing everything over to PTC because it has to get done. I will say I'm pretty familiar with the Northeast Corridor, and I think that most of the properties up and down the corridor are doing a great job and are either going to be fully operational or have plans to be compliant. And I mean, at MTA and Long Island Railroad and MNR, you're talking about much bigger system than we are. I mean, I think ours is plenty complex, and I think there's one interlocking that goes into Grand Central that's maybe the most complicated. Herald is maybe the most complicated interlocking in the country, and they are working feverishly. They may have a solution now. I don't want to speak for Long Island Railroad. I'm just saying it is very complicated. I think people would be really impressed with the level of talent and effort that people are that's going into solving this. This is hard. Alan, you know a lot about it.